Guys, have you ever really wondered that despite of reading so many self-help books, despite of watching so many YouTube videos on self-help, despite of reading so many religious scriptures, following the teachings and listening to so many so-called spiritual teachers, despite of doing all of this thing, there is no transformation or very minimum transformation. That when a situation arises, all this teaching, all that you have read, all that you have listened to the religious teachers, all those teachings and learning goes down the drain when the real situation of test arises, and the old pattern gets followed automatically. Have you ever wondered such thing happen? So that is why I want to discuss today about the two types of intelligence which I feel personally. You can also, think about that. We all know that exercise is good for our health, movement is good for our health, but yet we do not exercise. And we know that the junk food, oily food, spicy food is not so good for our health, but yet we consume it. Or you must be in a situation sometimes in your life where you know that this particular person is really not good for me, but yet you cannot stop yourself, right, from being around that person. So what I want to distinguish and what I want to probe is that knowing about something is one thing, and then implementing is another thing, right? So as I said, that when you read, when you listen to those spiritual leaders, or when you read the self-help books, when you know by a doctor that exercise is good for health, junk food is bad for health, so all that is knowing, right? And you would have experienced that when a situation arises, this knowing, it fades away, and that old pattern, or your instinct, or whatever you can call it, it takes over, right? And sometimes people also say that I know that this person is not good for me, but yet I cannot stop myself from being around that person. Or I know that this particular activity, this particular addiction, right? Very often alcoholics say that we know that alcohol is bad for our health, but we can't stop it, right? So what I want to probe is that one thing looks very certain, that this knowing, right, it has its limitations. During the time of test, not everyone would be able to implement this knowing thing, right? And why, I want to tell you, is that whatever you read, whatever you learn, whatever you listen to, whatever you understand, it all falls in the spectrum of intellect. Okay, so all your knowledgeability, all your understanding, reasoning, logic, all that falls in the domain of something called as intellect. And intellect is the part of your brain. Okay, it comes in the spectrum or the purview of your brain, which is a part of ego, right? Ego, not in the sense of arrogance, but as self, the self. Okay, and I have discussed in my previous video that the self, the psychological self, is limited. It has its use, it has its importance, but it is very limited. Okay, so what so this is one kind of intelligence, right? Intellectual intelligence, that how much do you know, how much do you remember, how much is your knowledge, how much do you understand, how much logic do you have, your reasoning, and all that is one kind of intelligence called intellectual intelligence, or the brain intelligence, you can say. What I want to discuss is another intelligence called awareness based intelligence, right? So, what is this awareness based intelligence? This is perhaps something which we are not used to, or maybe we have not listened to, right? What is an awareness? Let's put it that way. Awareness is what? Awareness is a perception, a clear perception which is very inherent, which is very natural, as opposed to the intellect which is taught by the society, right? All your knowledge is given by your external moral authorities or the society or books or whatever, but it is coming from outside, while the awareness thing is natural. Okay, you don't have to buy it from anyone or from anywhere. It is very natural, it is there in everyone, okay, equally. So this awareness means what? When your mind and body are totally relaxed, when they are at total ease, when they are not occupied with anything, then there is a clear perception of the reality, external reality, as well as internal reality. ओके, सो एक्सटर्नल सिचुएशन में कुछ हो रहा है और उसके रिस्पॉन्स में योर ब्रेन, राइट, योर ब्रेन इज फॉलोइंग दैट ओल्ड सर्किट, okay, that knowledgeability is coming into the picture, and all that you can sense, right, through this awareness based intelligence. So this awareness is kind of a ground, right? And you don't have to listen to me and put this, otherwise this will also become intellectual knowledge. We don't want intellectual knowledge. We want what I'm trying to say is awareness based understanding, right? So practice it, right? And see that when a situation arises, how your brain, start functioning immediately. The past memory would come into picture, and through that past memory associated memories will also fall into line. And then somebody in your family would have said that if a situation arises like this, you have to behave like this, you have to pretend like this, or you have to do this, and all this is in your brain. And with this awareness based intelligence in the background, you can see how this brain is functioning, how it is following its old pattern, right? That all the bundle of memories are coming into the picture, past hurt remembrance is occurring, and then your father's advice or your mother's advice is coming inside your brain to act in particular way. And this awareness is there in the background. It can feel not just the external reality, but how even your brain is also functioning, okay? And so this is also another kind of intelligence, right? And which we are not used to. But if you are totally relaxed and you have very clear perception, right, when this intellectual thing, it calms down, its burden is decreased, this awareness based intelligence come into the picture automatically. And this intellectual intelligence will also tell you what to do, and this awareness based intelligence will also tell you what to do, right? These two things. And very often your awareness based intelligence, right, which is very often also called as conscience, right? Conscience, the voice of conscience will be very often in opposition to the voice of your intellect or morality, right? Your morality, which you introject from the external moral authorities, your parents, your teachers, your gurus, right, your leaders. So they are the external moral authorities, and whatever they teach you, it comes in the domain of your intellect. And many times you would find that your voice of conscience, the voice of the awareness, is in opposition to the voice of this introjected morality of the society, right? And you find yourself in a dilemma, an internal conflict, right? How to resolve that conflict and what to do, that is a part of another video. But this video aims to give you an introduction to an another kind of intelligence also, okay? Because we know about this IQ wala intelligence, this intellect based intelligence, but what I want to hint to you or probe you is that there is an another kind of intelligence also, which is of awareness based intelligence, right? Which has more to do with feeling, which has more to do with intuition, right? Which has more to do with heart, the deepest of deep core of your being, right? As opposed to the intellectual intelligence, which has to do with thinking, and it is very superficial and it is from the society, right? So this brain thing is your intellectual intelligence, and your the deepest core of your being, your feeling, your heart is about this awareness based intelligence, right? um, Many times you would have been in the situation where a situation arises externally and the voice of morality says that because morality has to do with class. So it says that you belong to this particular caste, so therefore you are automatically superior, therefore it's okay to disown the right of the other people, which is wrong. It should not be like this. But morality teaches these things, that the men should invest in the job, and the female should invest in man. And for female, we have these things of the stereotypes of pativrata, and she should invest in the family, and these kind of moral thing, right? Morality, with morality comes shoulds and should nots, and ought to be and must be, this should and should not and must and all these things, they are fed into our mind by the morality, while the conscience has to do with our real being. It says that no, the other person is also a human being, and he or she has an equal right just as you do. Or the other person, the other being is an animal or a bird or an insect, and the earth belongs equally to that animal and to the insect, just as it belongs to you, right? But morality frames it that the human being should be put at the top, and then animals come later on, and birds, and they it's okay to compromise their rights, and it has all to do with the superiority of human race, and it's okay to don't take in care into, don't think about the animals, and it's okay to exploit resources for the good of the humanity. I mean, these kind of things are there very much, which are fed into us. But if you are really connected to your voice of conscience, if you are really the awareness based intelligence is really functioning, then you would find out that no, what has been taught to us or what is going on in the society as a teaching is really not true, right? You can pick it up very intuitively, right? Your conscience has a natural capacity to tell you what is right and what is wrong, and your conscience also tells you very intuitively as to what is true and what is false, what is the real teaching and what is an unreal teaching or a misunderstanding that is going on in the society. And that awareness based intelligence also has a function that it tells you what to do, what is the right action, right? And as I said, very often it would be in opposition to the voice of your brain, voice of your intellect and morality, and then you have to choose, because it has its price. If you follow the voice of the morality and society, yes, society will praise you, but you will be, killing something much deeper. And when you kill that, it becomes dysfunctional. When you don't obey the voice of your conscience become dysfunctional, and it stops telling you what is right and wrong, and then you are totally operating based on, this morality and intellect, and then you will be seek counsel of other people, which will tell you what to do, but most often it would be in their best interest and not your best interest. And so you pay a price, right? And similarly, if you follow the voice of conscience, you feel good, you feel empowered, you feel something deeper, that yes, you have done the right thing, but the people would make you pay. They will make you pay, right? Say for example, your boss, right? You're working in an office and your boss tells you to, is some wrong thing is going on in your job, right? And your boss says that your first duty should be towards your office, right? You have to think about the welfare and success of this firm, this office in which you are earning your bread, and therefore you think about it, and you don't think about the natural resources we are exploiting, and you don't think about the animals that we are killing, and etc, etc. And your voice of conscience, if it is active, if you are connected with it, it will tell you that no, this is not right. Actually, it's not okay to damage the nature or damage the animals in order to make profit, right? Because money is anyway artificial anyway. So you will be in difficult position, that if I would follow the boss, then and I follow this teaching of morality, that you have to think about the success of your firm, from where you are earning your namak or your bread. If you have to do the best there, if you don't do it, then it's a pap. So the morality will tell you one thing, and your conscience would say that it's, I would leave the job, but I can't damage the nature or the animal so much just for the profit of the firm or my own personal job security. So if you would follow the voice of your conscience and you would tell your boss that listen, I'm not going to do that, then you would pay a price. Your boss might fire you, okay? But you would also gain something deeper. You would get an integrity, an inner integrity, that is a gift, and the price, and the good price of following the voice of your conscience. And if you follow the voice of morality and you would obey your boss who is asking you to damage the things left and right and center, and asking you to go against the voice of your conscience, if you follow that, the good price is that your job will be secured. But you would be killing your voice of conscience, and it will become dysfunctional over the period of time, and then it will stop speaking, and it will stop telling you what is ultimately right thing for you to do, right? So this is what I wanted to tell through this video, that I did my best to make you understand that there is another kind of intelligence also, which is very deeper, which is very natural, which has to do with intuition, which has to do with following the voice of your real being, your core, okay, which is very deeper. Such intelligence is also there, and that intelligence also tells you what to do and what not to do, and it has to do with your heart, with your being. It has less to do with thinking, it has more to do with feeling, it has less to do with your intellect, and this awareness based intelligence has more to do with your intuition, your conscience, okay? This thing has more to do with morality, which is kind of fed to you by your parents, your teachers, your leaders, spiritual teachers, religious teachers, okay? So uh, I hope you can see the what is the corresponding thing here. In the intellect, this hand is about the intellect based intelligence, and this is about the awareness based intelligence. It has to do with thinking, this has to do with feeling, it has to do with the brain, this has to do with the deepest core of your heart, your being, right? This has to do with morality, this has to do with your conscience, this has to do with intellect, this has to do with your intuition. Okay, this is being taught by the society, it is structured by the society, right? And this thing is very natural, and it is not in the domain of your society. This is the function of your ego. Intellect comes in the purview of your ego, and this is something which I feel is beyond your ego. It is the ground of everything. Whatever is happening at the superficial level in your brain, or in philosophy, as they say, the karmic thing, the energy play out, whatever is happening is this awareness based intelligence is the ground of all of that. And if you are really, your that intelligence is really active, awareness based intelligence, you can really sense that how your brain is working, how your brain is playing its tricks, and how that old logic is coming into picture, how that thinking is coming into play, bundle of memories is coming into play. Even deeper than that, the karmic momentum, what is happening, what is the play out of energy that is happening right here, right now, that thing. And all is at the superficial level, and this awareness based intelligence is the ground. And when this is active, when your conscience is active, when your intuition is active, it tells you that what is happening is either happening because of your intellect or because of karmic momentum, whatever, and therefore that tells you what is the right thing to do. Okay, and it might be against the voice of morality many times, right? So when you are operating based on the awareness based intelligence, there is no one to tell you that you should do this thing or you should do that thing. That what the awareness based intelligence says you must do. Okay, so, and that would be the right thing ultimately that needs to be done, and nobody can tell you. Actually, you have to connect with your awareness based intelligence, form a connection, form a relationship with it, and follow it. The more you would follow it, the more it will become active, the more your relation will get strengthened with your awareness based intelligence. Okay, so whatever I have said, I tried my best to tell you. Okay, and practice it, understand it. I'm using the word understanding, but what is the right word for it? Experience it, perceive it, see that what is happening, right? Try to go beyond your intellect, try to go beyond your morality, try to go beyond your brain. Let your intuition flower, let your the deeper intelligence, right, flower. So explore all this. I think exploration would be the best word, not even experience and not understand. Explore what is happening, explore the world outside you and even the world inside you, and figure it out, right? You might not agree with me, I respect it, I totally respect it, but ultimately my purpose is to tell you to explore. There are so many uncharted territories even within our being. There are so many unexplored phenomenons within us. Okay, so explore it and discuss it, and I would be very happy if you discuss things with me, or you have any close circle of such people with whom you discuss these kind of stuffs Don't get limited by your profession, don't get limited by your brain, don't get limited by what society tells you. Okay, don't get limited by your ego, that restricted, limited self. There is a lot to explore, and there are lots and lots of hidden jewels, mysteries, phenomenons in the deep waters of your being that needs to be explored. Only then I think the life would be worth living, and then only life carries some meaning. Okay, so that's all. I think I'm speaking a lot, and I tried my best to explain you, right? So thank you. If you have any questions, if you have any disagreements, I would be more than happy to listen to the disagreements. Most welcome. Okay, because see, no one is perfect, and we all are in this journey of life. Let it be an exploration, let it be a discussion, let us be the fellow travelers, right? And explore phenomenons and discuss and talk and agree and disagree, right? I think that is the healthiest thing. No one is right, no one is wrong, no one is an expert, no one is a guru. We all are same, right? Ultimately, we all are human beings. We all are, the part of the same consciousness. A river can be Ganga or Yamuna or Filipino river or Moscow river or whatever, but ultimately it's a river. Ultimately we all are one consciousness, unified consciousness, right? So anyways, do express your views in the comment section and let me know. Okay, and thank you so much.